Welcome everybody. I want to thank you for coming in and viewing this video today. I hope all is well. These are some crazy times, so I hope in my heart of hearts that you and your families are all safe right now. And I just want to start by saying that this is a video presentation for the Aroostook VIsion, which is a different program we've been trying out this year to develop leadership skills, communication, prevent substance abuse in teens in our county. Now obviously our presentations with the middle schools were canceled, so this is our way of keeping that momentum going and making sure that all the middle school students in our county and everywhere else that's going to be viewing this video gets all the information that they need, all of the skills that they need to make healthy choices and lead healthy lifestyles and just be positive, be leaders, and really make a difference. So let's get started with a review of what we've already covered in our presentations. Whenever I talk about substance abuse, I like to look at the scientific literature first. So when we talk about substances like marijuana, alcohol, tobacco, or vape, we know that they have drastic effects on our body. For example, they can reduce our memory span, our lung capacity, they can hurt our hearts and our internal organs. And most importantly, they can hurt our mental health. Because every time we get on these drugs to feel better about ourselves, once we get off them, we're going to be even lower than we were before. Now let's look at a different perspective. Every one of us has a younger family member or a younger friend that looks up to us. Now think about them. Think about them when you have the choice to use a substance or not, because your actions influence what they do. If they perceive you to be doing these things, then that's what they're going to do. Do you want your younger brother or your younger sister or your younger cousin to look at you and start doing the things that you're doing when you know that they're wrong? You can make a difference by making the right choice. When we last talked about bullying, we talked a lot about perspective. Now what perspective is a combination of your background, your experiences, and your views. And it's important to remember that we all have different perspectives, which means we all have different experiences, we all have different backgrounds, and we all have different views. It's important to remember that just because somebody else has a different perspective than you doesn't mean you should bully them because of that. Because you don't know what their experiences are. They might be going through a really hard time, and you might be making it worse. Now, let's talk about self-esteem for a minute. Self-esteem is the way you view yourself. If you have good self-esteem, you view yourself positively. And if you have bad self-esteem, you view yourself negatively. Now, self-esteem can be hard to come by, and it does take a lot to have good self-esteem. But in the end, we all have it, eventually. Whether it be through an event in your life or a person you meet, we all gain self-esteem. So it's important to remember that just because you feel alone in the world right now, and just because you're having negative thoughts about yourself, that doesn't mean that you are alone, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means you're a little different and you need some help. So it's important to remember that people care about you, people love you, and people want to help you. You just have to reach out. So let's talk about goals really quick. A goal is something that you want to achieve after a certain period of time. And I think the most important thing to know about goals is that you need to have objectives. And these are basically little tasks that you can complete to make sure that your goal is achieved. For example, if I want to be a great basketball player, my objective can be to play basketball for 2 hours a day. Now let's talk about values for a second. Values are attitudes and views that we have about the world around us. For example, I could value family. I could value helping other people. Now, the important thing to know about both goals and values is that they can influence each other very heavily. Now, if you have a value, such as helping other people, one of your goals could be to help somebody. And when you have these interconnected goals and values, it becomes so much easier to influence each other. Now, let's hear from some people around our community on what they think about goals and values.
Hi everybody. So right now I'm going to talk to you about goals. And for me, goals are really important. You should always have something, whether it be a huge goal, like say getting into that school you love, or whether it be a small one, like getting A's and B's on your next report card. What you should always do when you're setting goals, though, is to never be ashamed of the goal that you put forth. So whether you want to be the scientist that cures cancer, or whether you want to be the first woman president, or whether you want to be the next president of Harvard University, or whether or not you just want to have a stable job with a loving husband or wife and some nice kids, that's fine. The most important thing about setting goals for yourself is that you should never be insecure about the goals you set, and you should always be proud of achieving them, no matter how big or how small.
Our values affect our lives daily. They influence things like how we speak, what we're interested in, the things we want to advocate for, things we find right and wrong, and the types of people that we want to surround ourselves with. They're a big part of what makes us, us. That being said, they are not all we are. And that's why I think it's so important to keep an open mind when looking at other people's values and also your own. It's important when looking at other people's values because just because someone has a different value than you, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person or that they shouldn't be your friend. It just simply means that they have a different value. It's really important when considering open-mindedness with your own values too, because I think it's so easy to get stuck in a rut of, oh, I've always thought that, but when new information comes, so does new experience. It's okay to change your mind about your values too, even if you've had them for years or even your whole life.
Our values are so important to our lives. They can help us grow and develop, make good decisions, and build good relationships with people. For example, if one of your values is loyalty, people can always count on you. Being loyal in friendships, jobs, relationships, whatever it may be, can make those relationships so much stronger. Having good values can help shape your life in such a great way, and it's so great to live by things that can make you and others happy. I know for me, my values always help me reach my goals and just be a happier person.
In simple terms, being a leader is being a person who uses a certain set of skills to help a group achieve its goal. Now, the set of skills that a leader has is basically a group of adjectives that describes him, such as respectful, communicative, observational, and the list just goes on and on and on. But you can find that list on the internet. What I want to share with you today, and what these other people are going to share with you, is personal experience and what they think is the most important part of being a leader, and being part of a team as well. For me, the most important part of it is not being the person who bosses everybody around, but it's being the person who values other ideas and lets everybody be heard, regardless of what they're going to say. Now, when this happens, you have a team that feels valued, they feel respected, and they're going to give you some really good ideas, and everybody's going to be very friendly with each other, and you're going to be a very efficient team. That's really what a leader is all about. So let's hear some more about that.
Another thing I want to talk about is leadership. And leadership can be described with one word to me, and that's optimism. And the best example of that I can think of comes from World War II, when our side, the Allies, kind of messed up and we didn't know what the enemies were doing. This happened during the Battle of the Bulge, and everybody who was in charge went to their boss, sat down at the table, and explained how they messed up. And their boss, General Dwight Eisenhower, said to them, "There will only be cheerful faces at this table." See, Dwight Eisenhower knew that optimism was important, and that means having hope for the future, no matter how bleak the circumstances are right now. So during this COVID-19 outbreak and during the quarantine, we should all spread hope to our friends, our families, and continue to have hope for the future.
Hi everyone, Nate DeLuca here. As you all enter high school and join sports teams, get jobs, take harder classes, and participate in other activities, you'll be called on to be a leader. Now, starting off, you won't have the official titles of leadership like the captain of the soccer team or president of NHS, but you'll still have important leadership roles in these organizations. The most important leadership advice I can give you is to lead by example. If you show up to practice on time, ready to go, or contribute to a discussion in class, you will inspire others to do better and try harder with you. If you lead like this from the beginning, you will be an even better president or captain because the people around you will respect you and look to you for guidance.
The most important aspect of being a leader is using your skills to empower other people. You become a leader to guide others into becoming more leaders and not followers. My time as a staff member at HELC has really proved to me that being a leader isn't about the title itself, but how you use it. Being a leader isn't all about starting big projects. It can be as simple as motivating your friends to do what they want but don't find the time to. Being a leader is about being a good person and a role model. So just be the best version of yourself.
Two important skills for teamwork are communication and compromise. Communication is being able to talk back and forth about your feelings, your tics, your triggers, and having that relationship, the respect between you and that other person to talk about it. There's also physical communication, which is also known as body language, which is just being able to talk without actually saying any words. That is very, very important if you have a very close relationship with somebody and they want to say something without actually saying something. The other one, compromise, is knowing what is best for the team or project group or anything like that, even if you don't like it. For example, if your friend is better at math and your group project has to have math, letting your friend do the math, even if you really wanted to, is better for the team, and that's compromise.
I think that the two most important skills of teamwork are communicating clearly and listening. It's important to communicate clearly so that you can make sure that you've had a chance to share all of your ideas with the group. For example, if you're doing a school project, it's important to share all of your ideas with your friends or your entire group that's involved in the project so that you can come together and get a better grade in the end. It's also important to listen to other people's ideas so that everyone else can have a chance to share all of their ideas. And an example of this is if you're on a sports team, if everyone else listens to each other, then there will be no miscommunication and no confusion, and then the team has a better chance of winning.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to the end of the video. I just want to say it's really been a dream come true this year to be able to spread this information on such a wide scale and on so many different platforms. For all of you who are viewing this and who have seen my earlier presentations as well, please, please, please use this information. These skills, this information, all of it is so important in life. It's going to take you really far if you use it the right way. And I also want to say that you don't just have to practice this for yourself. You can help other people do the same. Because one person by himself can't change the world, but if all of us together do something for somebody, change somebody's world, then we can make a whole different future for ourselves. So that's my challenge for you. Go out into the world and use these skills for yourself, and also use them for somebody else. Be the difference.